Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors, the podcast that keeps HR pros, business leaders, and operations teams ahead of the curve. We're sponsored by our friends at Paychex and also by WorkHuman. My name is Steve Boese. Despite increased awareness, neurodiverse workers still face workplace challenges. Today, we take a look at neurodiversity at work and how the climate working against DE&I programs could reverse years of progress. Neurodiverse individuals, including people who have ADHD or dyslexia, often face multiple barriers in the workplace. And despite an increased awareness about these conditions over the past few years, the majority of neurodiverse workers say discrimination against them is only getting worse. According to the Americans with Disabilities Act, employers must provide reasonable accommodations to people with disabilities, which includes those with learning and thinking differences. However, for this group of employees, their differences often go unseen, leading to gaps in workplace inclusivity and equity. Around 70% of people who identify as neurodivergent say they face stigma at work, and that's up from 60% in 2024, according to a new survey from Understood.org, a nonprofit that's dedicated to supporting individuals with learning and thinking differences. Around 77% of this group feels pressure to mask their behaviors for fear of retaliation, and another 64% worry that disclosing their condition will negatively impact how others perceive their abilities at work. There's an awareness around neurodivergence that has increased over the last few years, especially amongst young people. There are still many myths and misperceptions out there, Nathan Friedman, co-president and chief marketing officer at Understood.org, remarked. So there's still a lot of work to be done, not only to continue to drive awareness, but for organizations to understand better where learning difference is and how it manifests at work. The fear among neurodiverse employees about potential repercussions for disclosing their conditions could hold these employees back from asking for the kinds of accommodations that could make their work lives easier. Around 64% of this group say they feel comfortable asking their employer for an accommodation, but around 76% of neurodiverse employees still say that there's a stigma attached from doing so. The current political climate around DE&I is also causing workers to worry about what kind of options they will have in the future. Inclusion for people with disabilities is considered an important part of many diversity policies. Around 64% of all workers, including both neurodiverse and neurotypical, believe that getting any kind of workplace accommodation moving forward will become more challenging because of how companies are rolling back DE&I programs. The macro political environment is not necessarily one that prioritizes inclusivity, and that's stemming from what the government has done regarding DE&I. Ultimately, it comes down to each individual workplace to figure out how they can embrace neurodivergent workers and make them feel like they belong, no matter what's happening in the outside world at large. But it would be a tragedy for years of slow but steady progress for increased acceptance of neurodivergent people in the workplace to be stalled or even reversed by short-sighted and blanket rollbacks of existing DE&I policies and programs. Want more on the future of work, talent, and technology? Be sure to hit follow or subscribe and share this episode with a colleague who cares about getting the workplace right. That's it for the show today. We'll continue to follow this and all the important topics and trends in the world of work here on the HR Happy Hour Media Network. This has been Steve Boese for the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors.